Thank you, Wendy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining on today's session for Prisma Access Insights. Today, we'll be talking about Prisma Access Insights dashboards, some overview, some capabilities, what you can monitor through Prisma Access Insights, and some of the recent enhancements and feature addition in the Prisma Access Insights. Prisma Access Insights provides you advanced visibility, proactive assistance, and purpose. It's a purpose-built solution. Administrators can view map detailed information on the deployment status of their remote networks, mobile users, and service connections. Prisma Access Insights shows the network utilization statistics to measure the bandwidth usage and the user connectivity to determine trends and current connections, allowing the deep dive analysis of app and user activity. It provides you a proactive assistance for your Prisma Access deployment through enhanced dashboard with a real-time data analytics. It gives you a way to continuously monitor your Prisma Access environment when an event or the status requires your attention. Prisma Access sends you an alert notification so you can quickly pinpoint the issues that you can fix. It also gives you the ability into the fixes that Prisma Access team is working on. There are multiple dashboards, remote networks, mobile user, which we'll talk about shortly. It gives you the focused view of your different deployment types, your alerts, and the Prisma Access infrastructure. You can filter those alerts that the way you want to see by selecting different filters, time range, connect methods, and we will go all details in coming slides. Let's first talk about the Prisma Access dashboard. The first dashboard is a summary dashboard. In the summary dashboard, you can see there are two tabs, summary and the map view. The summary tab gives you open alert status of your deployment, remote networks, mobile users, service connections, and Okyo grid as well. You can view all the open alerts by severity of your Prisma Access deployment. And the connectivity status widget displays the number of remote network sites, mobile users, Okyo grid connected in the real time out of the total deployed and the number of service connections that are online as of the last minute. It also displays the increase and the decrease in the number of connected sites for your mobile user, service connection, the last time range. For mobile users, you can see the currently connected users out of the total licensed mobile users as of the last minute. The data shown for the mobile users is filtered on the option you select the connect method, and I will talk about it, the connect method, how you can choose that. The Prisma Access location status, this widget displays the overall network status of the Prisma Access location for your remote network, mobile users, and service connection. The data in this widget comes from the actual Prisma Access location where you have activated your gateways, service connections. And you can see the ring chart here. This green is a color coded. It may be red, which indicates that all the instances are running. Something is down. Yellow indicates that at least one or more instances down. And the green is all good. And this data depends on your connect method, what you use. And another thing you can monitor here, the licensing information. You can monitor your mobile users and remote networks license expiration through this, which will show you how long before you can take action your license expires. And the expiration date is applicable for the super tenant you select. And this is the connect method I talk about. From the server dashboard in the top view, you can select the connect method. If you are not using the explicit proxy, you can select or deselect um, global protect, or we can select both to monitor as a combined view of all this. The next one is a custom time range filter. Prisma Access Insights time is localized. You will be able to filter based on the local time for your region. And this data is fetched every minute, but the data point shown in most uh, histograms will vary according to the time range selected. So for your convenience, Prisma Access Insights lets you pick the time range from a few predefined ranges or configure your own custom time range too. For example, the last 15 minutes, 1 hour, 24, 7 days, 30 days, and then the custom. You can set the custom time interval, date and time. For example, start at 5 p.m. on July 1st and end on 6 p.m. on uh, July or August 2nd, in addition to the pre-populated time ranges. Another important dash widget is on part of the summer dashboard is a combined traffic distribution. This widget allows you to see fraction of your data that goes through the internet as well as the fraction of the data that is internal network traffic, which goes through the internal apps for security clearance. Internal apps are those which are running in your data center or HQ. So in this graph, you can see the x-axis displays the time and the traffic displays on the y-axis. The data shows on the x-axis will be for every 3 minutes or when the time range selected lasts 15 minutes, or 1 hour, 3 hours. And data shown in this widget is only for currently selected supertenant. You can hover your mouse over these bar graphs tools, tips, and that indicates the traffic distribution among your network, internet and remote networks, internal networks at any point of time. And the next tab is a summary dashboard is a map view, which is a real time. Map view shows the status of all the Prisma Access location on the map in a real time. You can hover your mouse on any location to get the further details, which includes location, status, number of remote networks connected, number of unique mobile users connected, and number of service connections as well. On a map view, if you hover your mouse over a location, you will get a pop-up dialog box. If you click on it, the user ID and the user group mapping, so you will be able to see for the selected location and node type, the Prisma Access location and um, user ID, all the user ID information. And it will open up a dashboard and details for you like this, where you can see all the user IDs details here. And you can sort the list of the groups, toggling arrows icon next to the users group. And if you select a group by clicking on any of those, it will show the user group mapping for all the groups that are available in that site. You can export to the CSV and get activated. And you can also export all the users. And the next dashboard we have is the remote networks. If you click on the remote networks and your Prisma Access, you'll see here there are 3 tabs: monitoring summary, map view, and the site list. In the monitoring summary, you can see here which it gives you the overall view of the health of your remote networks, which includes open alerts, location status, tunnel status, bandwidth utilization, uh, peak bandwidth utilization, topmost 5 sites which are using the maximum bandwidth. This page is divided mainly into 6 sections. You can see here the top 5 alerts by severity, the map which shows where all your remote networks are deployed, the location, sites and tunnel status, which shows which is using the higher bandwidth, which your location is, topmost active sites for Prisma Access locations, and bandwidth utilization trends, sites which are approaching maximum bandwidth. If the site has allocated a lower bandwidth, it will not show upon in the peak bandwidth graph. And the sites approaching the maximum bandwidth can help you to determine if more bandwidth need to be allocated. Next dashboard we are talking about is mobile users. So like remote networks, we have a dedicated dashboard for the mobile users, which gives you the overall health status of your mobile users. And it also has the 3 different tabs in this dashboard as well, like mobile summary dashboard, map view, and user list. In the summary dashboard, you can get here connected users, the number of users, and the graph shows you the number of connected users over real time, and then the licensing. Out of total your purchased mobile user licenses, how many users are connected, and this again you can select here the method. Either you're selecting the global protect or explicit proxy. Global Protect app version distribution. You can see here how many users are using which version of your Global Protect app. And then you can also see the 5 most active locations of your mobile users here and the explicit proxy as well. An important thing here, IP pool reaching maximum capacity. This widget allows you to monitor the IP pool utilization. The real-time bar graph shows the IP pool utilization by different IP pool allocation theaters based on the number of connected users at that time. The IP pool utilization percentage on the bar graph is the number of IP pool blocks utilized out of all IP pool blocks that are available across all the subnets. You can take proactive actions by adding subnets when you see an IP pool bar approaching the maximum capacity for any region. When you observe that IP pool utilization reaching to the maximum capacity for any region, please add the IP pool so that your Prisma Access deployment should not face any issue and the IP pools are available for your auto scaling. Next dashboard we're talking about is service connection. The service connection dashboard gives you the overview of the health of your service connection. You can get the status of your service connection, alerts, Prisma Access location for your tunnel bandwidth utilization associated with service connections. Similar to remote networks and mobile user dashboard, you can also see here the open alerts, top 5 open alerts by severity type, map view, tunnel status and service connection status, which if the tunnels are down, it will show up red. If one of the tunnels is down, that will show up as yellow. And topmost 5 active Prisma Access locations with respect to service connections. Next, we are in this service connection dashboard, we have service connection list. This lists all of your service connection and their status. It provides you the status distribution, either it's up, down, or there's any warning. Bandwidth consumption over time. You can see the aggregate bandwidth consumption over time. And you can select here if you want to peak tunnel ingress or you want to monitor the average. And the list of all the service connections. details about your service connections, such as remote IP addresses, how many tunnels are associated, the Prisma Access Insights user interface displays up to 10,000 records in the table. If you have more than 10,000 records, you can view them by exporting into the CSV format by clicking on Export CSV. Next dashboard we will have a look is Prisma Access Locations. Prisma Access Location dashboard shows the tabular list of all of your Prisma onboarded Prisma Access location with remote networks, mobile users, service connections, Okyo, and you can export this list in the CSV also. Then you can see the bar graphs in each widget and the ring graph also, which shows you about the number of sites and then location in each region. The next one we have is CDL Connectivity Status. This widget displays the overall connectivity status from each node type, either it's remote networks, mobile users, service connections to the CDL. And each widget contains a ring chart. The number displayed in the ring chart represents the total number of Prisma Access locations from where these nodes are connected to the CDL. Each location could have further have one or more firewalls in it. And the status of these connections are shown in the real time. You can select a time range filter, and the chart is color coded here. Connected means all the firewalls in these regions are connected to the CDL. Disconnected means that they are disconnected from the CDL, and partially means one or more are disconnected. And you can monitor the disconnection time from the CDL connection list. If you click on this drop-down arrow, it will give you the graph, which shows you the total disconnections of the CDL firewalls from the CDL, and history of and the timelines for all the CDL connectivity. Next, we have the tunnels dashboard. Tunnels tabular list shows the details of each sites and their tunnels. Tunnels names are retrieved from the Prisma Access configurations. You can check here from on this ring, see how many the up, down, and inactive status. This is the aggregate tunnel connectivity over time. And here you can see the list of all the tunnels, and these the names of the tunnels that are retrieved from your actual configurations. The average throughput column in this table shows the amount of traffic flowing through the tunnel. The disconnections column shows the number of times sites got disconnected from the Prisma Access. And here I will hand over to our Senior Product Manager for Prisma Access Insights, Shruti, who will talk about some enhancements in the Prisma Access Insights. Over to you, Shruti. Thank you.
Thank you, Karan. Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, we can hear you well.
Super. Do you want me to drive these slides? I can, not sure if I can take over control at this point, but anyways,
I can do that. That's fine.
All right. Great. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about the newest enhancements that we have introduced in Prisma Access Insights since the beginning of this year, so about 6 or 7 months now. One of the biggest changes we have made in the Prisma Access Insights based on a long-standing request from customers has been in the alert framework. We have now made sure that the alert platform runs on the same backend as Prisma Access Insights. Earlier, it was on a different backend and ingesting information or telemetry coming in from Prisma Access Infra on this different platform. But we saw that it had certain issues. And in order to improve the reliability and robustness for this Prisma, for these alerts, we ensured, or rather we migrated the backend engine that creates the that monitors and creates these alerts onto the same backend as Insights. In doing so, we also had the opportunity to redo the alert structure for our alerts, as well as re-examine the existing logic. And the changes we made were to make sure that we are able to maintain state for the alerts so that we can control the volume of alerts that are sent to customers for any specific case. We also were able to rethink the alert lifecycle about when alerts are raised, updated, and closed, again with the view to controlling the alerts, the volume of alerts that are sent. We now raise an alert, the severity of an alert, only when the severity increases from, say, low to medium, or from, say, medium to high. We have three, it would bear mentioning that we have three levels of severity: low, medium, and high. In this new framework, earlier we used to have low, medium, high, and critical, but we have consolidated them into three. And we also have a different category of alerts called information alerts, which are not about monitoring the state of the network that you have deployed, but it's more to do with things such as maintenance and upgrades of the infrastructure. These, in order to have visual clarity, we have separated within the UI the alerts that we call priority alerts based on the signals received from the infrastructure versus these alerts which are scheduled in time for upgrading the infrastructure, as well as we send out alerts if any vulnerabilities are detected which must be fixed. We intimate to you via these information alerts. They don't have any specific severity level per se, nothing such as low, medium, and high, but these are for information such that you can plan for the necessary downtime or interruption in service if it is needed to upgrade the infrastructure. From the release 3.0 onwards, 3.0 was released end of March. So since then, the updates that have been included within the alert framework are the addition of some new alerts, the new alert structure, of course, which is evident in the alert UI, new email format for alerts, and new notification method that wasn't available earlier, such as called the, let's go back to the previous page, please. The notification method based on webhooks, whereby you have to specify a URL for the alert ingestion, and the alert is sent over that medium. We have now notification profiles, which allow you to subscribe, select users to alerts of interest, as opposed to having everybody subscribed to all alerts, which was the case prior to April. We also now have alert codes for informational alerts so that you can choose between, say, the infrastructure related upgrades to any intimation about failure of an auto-scaling based on a scheduled auto-scaling event. Moving on to the next slide, let me indicate to you some of the changes that also were brought about, seeing the trajectory of how alerts will be. If you see in the earlier version, or you may realize if you have been using Insights for a while, that alerts used to reside as a left nav item within Insights earlier. We have since then moved it to a top level at the same level as Insights. with the understanding that alerts will have not just infrastructure-related alerts based on observing the infra, but we expect to also have alerts in here from other services that we have introduced, such as ADEM, the Autonomous Digital Experience Monitoring that we do. They will, in time, have some alerts which will be reflected here. As such, this alerting mechanism will be the means for our customers to receive alerts from a whole host of different services in addition to the infrastructure. And this is going to be a uniform method to receive alerting on all your Prisma Access related concerns. Moving on to the next slide, I wanted to indicate some of the specifics of how these alerts are reflected within the UI. So as I said, now the alerts are in a separate pane, and this is the icon on the left nav. If you see within the alerts, they right now have the list of alerts as well as the notification profile. In the list of alerts, you have what I described as the priority alerts and other alerts such as the informational alerts. Within the priority alerts, you see a visual representation of the open alerts by severity. So this gives you a visual indicator of the number of alerts where you need to turn your attention to, because they may have performance impacting and they may have a performance impact on your infrastructure, as well as a distribution of alerts over time. You can see the newly raised alerts, open alerts, as well as alerts that have been resolved based on the same time selector that you have been seeing in the other pages of Insights. The alert table below shows you details of all the alerts that you have within your network, and you can filter these by severity, by alert ID, alert name, impacted objects, and so forth. As the alert name indicates, it is a textual verbiage for indicating to you the alert and its impact on the network. The primary impacted object indicates the primary infrastructure component that is impacted by this alert. In this case, it would be the tenant ID, of course. The specific, if you look at all the tunnels, it could very well be either an SC or a service connection or a remote network. In the case of a remote network site, it will also indicate the site name. There is the notion of where the alert was last, when the alert was last updated. As I indicated to you, the states of for an alert would be raised, that for a new alert, updated when you get a new notification about an alert severity increasing, and resolved when the alert has been resolved or cleared. There are other fields as well, and you have the ability to either hide these fields or have them exposed in the general view, as the case may be. If you click on an alert, you will be able to see the alert details that are visible by going to the next slide. So the alert details are evident. When you click on this alert, it goes to a panel gets opened up on the same page. It has an accordion style of information whereby you see the alerts. The alert details are indicated in the first pane. You have other panes which indicate to you the impacted related objects, as well as the history of the alert, when it was first raised, when a notification was sent, and other parts that are important in the life cycle. Moving on to the next slide. Actually, Wendy or Karam, if you could give me control, that would help me from having to let you know when to move to a different alert, different page. So would greatly appreciate that. Thank you. So if you look at the information alerts, then you can see that these have pretty much things such as the alert name, when it was generated, and when the notification was sent, and the alert ID. Clicking on the left-hand side opens up the details for the alert. You'll see the entire verbiage of what this information alert indicates. As I indicated before, there is no severity associated with this. The notification alerts, the entire verbiage indicates to you when what the meaning of the specific alert is. As you see in my, moving on to the next slide, that I think we moved to many slides, so let me view that. Yes, so there is the other part of the alert is what we call the notification profile. Earlier, this notification profile replaces the view you had within alerts, which was to be subscribed to all alerts via only the email address. If you look within a notification profile, you have certain spaces. Let me go through what these different panes indicate to you. The main pane is, of course, to set up your alert, a name. You must have a default profile, which will exist and you cannot delete it. And it gives you the ability to select your subtenant. And a description, which is optional, if you want to have a verbiage about what the specific profile is intended for. The notification method indicates how alerts are received, so the different channels. We support 2 different channels, if you will, email as well as webhooks. The pane on subscription, so the notification, within the notification method, in addition to the method, you have this pane which indicates to you who receives the alert or the subscription endpoint as such. In the case of emails, it would be all the emails subscribed. In the case of webhooks, the subscription endpoint would be a URL where all the streaming alerts are sent, and thereby in the customers, your platform, you would essentially have your workflow for that gets triggered when an alert is received. The pane below within the notification profile indicates to you what alerts are received. So you have the ability to subscribe to the alerts, and it shows you the different alert categories. So in this next slide, I wanted to show you what happens when you have, for instance, say 2 notification profiles. You have the ability to enable or one, disable the other. However, you always must have one alert notification profile, which which you cannot delete. You can make changes, but unfortunately, I think we moved to the next one. So if you see, there are a few components within this. It tells you the subtenant ID, of course, the profile name that you choose, the subtenant ID, the email addresses that you have subscribed to this profile, and any webhooks if they have been created for this profile. The number of alerts that you have subscribed to are also indicated within the alert subscription. You can have as many webhooks as you have profiles. For every profile, you can create 1 webhook. You have now no limitations on the number of notification profiles that can be created. Earlier, there used to be a hard limit on a number of 2 that we had set, but now there is no limit on the number of notification profiles that can be set up. Within this view of the notification profiles initial page, you see a subscription log, which indicates any changes that were made to any profile by a user. So it is truly a log with a timestamp, the user who made the specific change, the profile name to which a change was made, and specifically what was the change. So this gives you a pretty good idea of any changes that are reflected within your notification profiles, with a history of who made the change at what time and what specifically was the change. Moving on to the specific profile, if you click on a profile, you have the ability to actually see that you can edit a profile, and you see an indicator which indicates to you that this was a default profile. As I indicated, you're allowed to have as little as one notification profile. However, that profile is considered a default and you will not be able to delete it. This is to ensure that you certainly get the notifications that are critical for the functioning of your Prisma Access infrastructure. If when you click on an edit profile or a new profile, these are the different panes that you see. You have the ability to pull down and select a subtenant. Perhaps you have a few subtenants that are associated with a supertenant, and you can choose all or a subset of those subtenants that are indicated within your profile view. You can choose the notification methods, and if you choose the email notification method, what you will see that you must click and add contacts to enter the email address. You can enter an optional name for that the specific subscriber, but an email address is absolutely required. If you look at the webhooks notification method, you are required to indicate the name of this webhook, simply because you may have several webhooks, and you're required to provide an HTTPS or a URL endpoint, which is the ingestion point for the streaming alerts. The auth methods supported with the webhooks notification are none, whereby it is without any authorization. Basically, there is no check on who is receiving this alert stream. You have the basic author type, which is whereby you have a username and a password indicated, as well as a token based, whereby you indicate the key or a token, which is then validated by the receiving platform ingestion URL endpoint. Mutual authentication is done, and you start receiving the alert stream. After you've made all these changes, you can see also you can select the alert categories by severity level and or alert code. Several customers had indicated to us that our previous method of sending all alerts to all subscribers were really not what they were looking for. They wanted the flexibility of selecting alerts and choosing the alerts that they would receive for action. Some customers want to select alerts by categories, which is what we have indicated. Perhaps you want to select all alerts of the category high, and you can do that just as at an alert level itself by clicking on the box to the left of the alert category type and clicking on the alert that you want to receive, or else you can open up the alert and select the alert categories, alert codes within that category that you would like to receive. Perhaps you want to receive just the primary WAN tunnel information, and you don't really care about your secondary. And you can, again, select or deselect the alert codes that you're interested in. Very recently, in mid-June, we have added the informational alert codes as well. So you can now choose between receiving all the information that comes about any upgrade or downtime for some service, standard service maintenance, or you can receive an alert about auto scaling, that failure that might have occurred. We don't send you alerts for all auto scaling because we expect to do this seamlessly running this SaaS service, and those alerts can run into several of our larger customers. But we do indicate when, for instance, an alert scheduled auto scaling has failed. We will be adding more categories to those informational alerts. Once you've done the selection of the specific alert category, you save the alert, you save your profile, and off you go. You save all the selections, and it's saved to the new notification profile, and you're in business. You'll start receiving either emails, if that's the channel you've chosen, or you'll receive the alert stream to the webhook, and you can have both email as well as webhook-based notification. As I indicated, our email formats have changed, and these are some of the sample emails for priority alerts. As you see, we have different states. The first state is when an alert has been raised. The state indicated is raised. You see a visual indicator on the email indicating that this was a state was identified that bears monitoring and informing and notifying you about. Thereafter, when the alert severity goes from, say, medium to high, the alert remains in the raised state and you get an updated alert. You don't get an alert when the severity goes down from, say, medium to low, because that is the way we expect that the resolution to proceed in that form, and we don't want to inundate you with information when everything is proceeding in the right direction. When the alert has been resolved and it has been cleared, we then send you another final notification that the alert has been resolved, and the state of the alert goes to cleared in the table that I had indicated earlier. Here is also a sample notification email for an informational alert. As we indicated, it's a notification. There is no severity associated with it. We indicate the tenant specific, the title of the alert, and the body of the alert indicating what this was about. Typically, there is nothing that you can do in this spaces. We just need you to be alerted that there is something that might impact your availability. Your network would run fine, but you may not be able to make any config changes or otherwise add any new email subscribers and so forth. But we definitely want you to be alerted about something that we are doing to the underlying infrastructure. Moving on to the next slide. As I indicated, we've made a lot of changes, and these are the sum total of a lot of the changes that you might have seen through the first half of the year. The alerts have seen the maximum, alert framework has seen the maximum number of changes, but we have been hard at work making sure that we add some of the features that have been long asked by you, our customers. One of these has been the ability to view some of our charts have a linear scale option versus the default by the default log scale that we show in some certain cases. The log scale is largely limited to the case of tunnel bandwidths for RNs, SCs, and so forth, simply because when you have a large dynamic range, the log scale gives you a better ability to view all the data. However, a lot of our customers have indicated to us that they do prefer the option to see things in a linear scale, as it is important for them to view or compare one state of the infra from a month to month, and having things on a linear scale gives them that ability much better than it is viewed in a log scale. So at the top of the chart, you see something that gives you the ability to toggle the scale to linear versus when it's toggled to not to linear, and it stays as the log scale. So if you see within the linear scale, you have equidistribution amongst the ranges on the y-axis. However, if you see on the log scale, as we are showing you here in the locations page, the log scale expands the lower end of your range more than it does at the top end. Thus, if you see from 2 to 4, you see a lot more spacing and the ability to see things more at a finer granularity than you do at the top end. This is actually most evident. While you see this even in the Prisma Access locations chart, this is most evident in the bandwidth charts for RN and SC. Going forward, all of you might have been aware that we have Prisma Access. The Palo Alto Networks has introduced the Okyo Garde home networking device to complement our enterprises who have a large workforce who are working from home, and we wanted to enable the home environment to also receive the same quality of enterprise-grade security as you see within the enterprise. So the Okyo Garde device brings SASE to the home network with that same level of security. Now, Prisma Access Insights provides a networking visibility for Okyo Garde, as it connects to Prisma Access, just like MU and RN. So we show you this Prisma Access connectivity help within the Prisma Access Insights if you have purchased Okyo Garde. And Okyo Garde is an add-on license to the base MU license, and this pane shows up on the left nav of Prisma Access Insights only if you have this, only if you have purchased this add-on license to your MU. The page structure is similar to MU and RN, and you see the monitoring summary, the map view, and the Okyo Garde device list. Again, the left nav view shows you the Okyo Garde if you have the license procured for it. Otherwise, it'll be as usual. You see RN, the remote networks, mobile user service connections, and what have you. In the summary, you see the standard view that we show for RN and our other pages. You first see the top alerts by severity. You see the device status here, and not the users behind the device, because we are showing you the connectivity health of Okyo Garde to Prisma Access. You see the different states that the device proceeds through, and shows you the aggregate status for all the devices that are present in your workforce, in addition to the Global Protect agent that might exist on the user's devices. We show you the tunnel status for all these devices for their connectivity to Prisma Access. We also show you the Okyo Garde device list. Within the device list, you see the device serial number, and this is, of course, during the selected time interval, which user claimed this device, the LAN subnet it belongs to, the Prisma Access location that the device has connected from, the location that the user is physically connecting from, the number of times that the device has experienced a disconnection in the time interval, and what that total disruption period amounted to. So you might have the time selectors selected to a week's worth of information. You might, when you see 7 disconnections, that means that how many times has Okyo Garde been disconnected from Prisma Access in these 7 days, and what did that aggregate time amount to? In this case, 15 minutes of disruption within that 1 week time interval. A lot more details are available. We have done separate sessions on Okyo Garde, so I'll certainly refer you to that if you have Okyo Garde deployed within your employee workforce for their work from home security. This has Wi-Fi to connect to their home devices, in addition to establishing a tunnel with their Prisma Access deployment, as for the rest of, and have availability to all the other services as they do when they're in their remote network or an HQ. I wanted to also give you a quick insight on some of the upcoming enhancements that we have been hard at work. You will see these enhancements visible within your Prisma Access networking pages very early August. End of these are within the QA cycle at the moment, and that's why we are confident in talking about these. These enhancements are largely seen in the mobile user section. And again, these reflect some of the biggest changes that our users have been asking us for a very long time. So these changes are with respect to providing the connected user list in addition to the user count. We provide you with the visibility of who are the users that are connected to Prisma Access in real time, which is just now in the current time, as well as historically. In addition, we show you what the mobile user license consumption is as a time series over the last 30 days. If you might remember, in the past, we have been showing this as just a point in time, so as a current consumption. So what is your consumption license look like today? But we are changing that, and you will be able to view how your consumption pattern has changed over the last 30 days. So in that sense, it is a shifting time window. If tomorrow it will show you 1 day less from today, but 1 day more, because it's the time frame is enhanced by a day. We show you a much overhauled map view from what you have today, because we comprehended some of the challenges that a map view have been providing. As I indicated, you have the ability to now click on this blue bar below the number of current users, and it will show you the current connected users, shows you the timestamp, which of the users are currently connected on to your Prisma Access network, the number of devices each user has, the last user location, and the last used Prisma Access location that these users connected from. Can be exported to CSV as well. This has been on top of mind for many of our customers, and we are happy that we are able to provide this now. Additionally, as I indicated, you click on that X on the right-hand top corner, it disappears. We show you the 30-day mobile user license consumption. You see here the date on which this data is pulled, the number of users that this indicates up till today, what is your total license, and what it reflects in your percentage of utilization for your license. It shows you the past 90 days period which has been used to compute this license consumption. And you can now also view the users by clicking on the View Users box as to the user list that is contributing towards this license consumption. So as I said here, it shows you the timestamp, it shows you the 90-day period for which this license consumption has been computed, and it shows you the user list who are contributing towards that license consumption. Again, you can export this via CSV. The next change has been with the map view. And we, as I said, we completely understand that our map view had certain challenges, and we have worked hard to alleviate these. You start with the real-time view of this map. It shows you how many users are currently connected to Prisma Access infrastructure. You have, and this shows you by default the number of Prisma Access locations that you have configured for your usage. You can click on the Show All Users tab, and you will see all the users who are aggregated throughout your deployment in the around your Prisma Access locations. When you click on any one of these bubbles, which indicate to you user clusters, you will be able to see how these users are, or which to this Prisma Access location, how the users are connected. The 104 number of users are too close in the map as far as to show as a separate resolution, but they are then connected to this Prisma Access location showed by the green triangle, as well as all the other users indicated by these bubbles. When you click on any one of them, it shows you the zoomed in view of the users around that location who are connected, and hovering on any one of these circular points, which indicates a single user, tells you how that user is connected. If you have a large number, clicking on that shows you the split up of the users if it is resolvable on the map. Otherwise, for instance, if they are in the same building, have the same user location per the latitude and longitude, we show you who these users are. All these 51 users are likely of the same, have the same latitude and longitude. We show you in an infinite model who these users are. Clicking on this right-hand bar will take you through the details of each of these users. You can select the users that have been shown in this pane, and so forth. So this is a slight preview of what's to come. And with that, I hope you have a fairly good idea of what Prisma Access Insights can bring to you for visibility into the infrastructure that you're running for your best in class and the best vendor of choice security service needs. Thank you.